Hi, welcome to the video. Yeah, for the thumbnail, it was hard to get my hand in this position, so we used a fake hand. All right, back to the video. Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with a host, a plethora, a panoply of guests. The One Company is here to talk all things Fallout. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about what we're about to cover, and I have been out of the room as they've been setting up, so I don't know anything. Do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. Chris, Jeremy, welcome to the cave.
Thanks.
I know you guys brought a ton of stuff, but we want to start with some stuff that people who are familiar with the One Company may know, things you made for Fallout, the video games.
Yeah.
Can you talk about these?
I can indeed, yeah. Of course, so this was for Fallout 4, and it was basically the thing that started us off, the thought of creating a Pip-Boy. For Fallout 76, we decided to make a kit. There wasn't really enough time whilst we were developing the product and they were developing the game and we had the assets to make a fully working one. There just wasn't enough time. So we started off by making one that didn't have any electronics in it, it was just a kit. Because rather than just making a plastic model, and decided to make it in this box. This is the size of it. Actually,
I want to pause here just to say, one of the things I love about you guys, and I said this to you off camera, but like when I'm collecting props and I'm assembling them, I'm always looking not just for that visual fidelity to the original, but I'm always looking for an experience where it feels like the object. And frankly, some of your guys' early products were just the only things out there that felt like the thing I wanted them to feel. And this really satisfied that to me. Like,
well, it's about the immersion, because the reason that you buy it in the first place is so that you can really extend the sort of fantasy world into the real world.
Yeah. And the world of Fallout really lends itself with all the corporations and Robco. I mean, the fact that it's packaged this way.
It's so well thought through.
Yes.
And in fact, this thing, the packaging was taken. The influence of that was a radiation kit, a uranium
for kids.
For kids, uranium prospecting kit for kids that came in a box like this. So we basically copied that. I mean,
you can't make things up. You can't make parody. It's,
So we did this thing, and that's where this whole design came from.
So beautiful.
And the whole world making thing is so important because it's part of making the fantasy real.
A kid came up to my line just last week in Philadelphia with one of these, and he had managed to fit some kind of working screen into it.
Yep.
Well, that's a challenge, right?
That's what he's
the Holy Grail.
All right. So, of course, new Fallout show on Amazon. It's so good. The Pip-Boys are a big part of it, and they're different. So it's a new opportunity for you guys.
It is. So should we show the first little model that we made? Let's show the prop.
Yes.
The actual prop.
Adam, they have real props.
Can you believe this?
No. You brought real props?
Yes.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
The actual prop from the
heroes prop.
the actual name of the.
Oh no way! You brought
character still
Lucy's.
it.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah.
So this is how it came. We only collected this from Amazon the other day. So here we go.
It's beautiful.
It is
Look at the lens.
really
It's
lovely.
May I?
Yeah.
Oh baby!
But tap on that. It really looks metal.
It really
in every
looks
way.
metal. It feels metal.
Yeah.
It's actually it's resin. It's made in resin.
With a buffed finish, with a
Modern model making is so cool now with 3D printing, and you can do the CAD. I mean, you know what props used to look like. Props are they're variable in their quality, aren't they?
Yes.
So hero props. But this is amazing.
This looks like almost like a Cosmochrome process. Like
so this is Lucy's one, the small one.
I love the form factor.
So let's just show you how
Peel
it
back
works.
the magic a little bit.
We'll just. This is
Every time we're a little nervous. There we go.
So inside,
that's amazing.
Inside is
Just a little
iPhone.
Yeah. Like a mini.
We can't quite work out how they take it out.
Look how it's exactly fit, right?
Perfectly fit in there.
Yeah.
And you know they had to take it out to charge it and things.
Right.
So that's amazing. And
Wow.
a nice little trick model making using magnets. To
Yes.
put things together. Nice strong magnets these days. Very careful. Don't break it. Very
Gorgeous,
nice.
gorgeous.
Obviously, you can notice straight away the difference in size between this and this.
And I really
there's a
appreciate the difference in size.
Yeah, it's now this is Lucy's one.
Right.
There was a male and female version in the show.
Okay.
One of the things with this style that you get is that you've got no adjustment for the cuff.
Oh,
So it
right,
either
right,
fits
right.
or it doesn't fit, you know?
Yeah.
So there's that to get around. And you can see this one doesn't have anything inside the cuff because in the show it's held on the sleeve and the sleeve has leather and stuff like that. So that's a few things we have to get over when we're making our one.
Right.
Also, for Lucy, this diameter is smaller because her wrist is smaller. Of course, our one has to be one size fits all. So we went for the male size one for the...
Fair.
This also doesn't open very wide.
This doesn't open very
She
wide.
literally had to slide her hand in.
Let's just open it. It's got magnets too. So here we go. It only opens that far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stick it in
she
your
had
hand.
to do that kind of business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can see some of the 3D printing artifacts on the inside of this,
Yep.
but they're just nothing visible on the outside. It is a gorgeous finish.
Yeah.
It is really, really beautiful.
I
And
love this this sort of
The
blue
blue.
gray paint they've
Yeah.
got on
Leather
there.
coat,
It's sort of
yeah.
wearing away.
Yeah.
yeah, so they've got a... Now, one of the challenges we'll have when we come to make this is how can we make this in volume and get this hand-finished process? I mean, it's obviously taken hours to do this.
And you guys, I know you pay a certain amount per paint process,
Yes.
but you have to burn it through. You have to get them to understand it and learn it.
But yeah, not only that, but everyone will be slightly different
Yeah,
because it's a
right.
handmade process. Now, one of the ways that you can do this is you can make what's called a pad print or a tampo print.
Right.
And that's like a great big balloon that you have
I
an
love
ink
watching
pad
those
on.
go.
Yeah, it's amazing and really soft silicone thing. And they squeeze it down and then they...
It looks like a 10-year-old's idea of how factories work, and yet it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this big balloon putting printing down on.
Yeah, and you might know also we make the Pokeballs.
Yeah.
They print on the 3D surface of the Pokeball and they can hit it 3 or 4 times and it's absolutely micro.
Right, you can do CMYK that way,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
Totally. Like they print footballs like that. So that's one way you could do it.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to print the whole in one go.
Yep,
You'd
yep.
have to have, maybe 10 or 20 operations, maybe more, and they'd all have to be aligned.
And you pay
they
a certain amount per, and that all adds to retail.
It does, and they look fake because they're not that sort of worn away look. And there are a few products out there you can see like that. What we want to make is something that's near, and then if fans want to add a bit to
Take it
it, they
that
can
last
start
bit.
to add.
So you're still doing some of the final problem solving for the retail product of this.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're at the stage now. They call it engineering prototype stage, where we're getting the first shots off the production line, so that we can begin to start looking at the paint finishes and how that works. We have a process already. We'll start showing you some stuff in a minute. But when you see this and you get really up close to it, you can't give this to the factory though. You can't take this.
No, there's nothing to follow here. It's too subtle.
Yeah, and anyway, we wouldn't be allowed to send it to the
Right.
that's the end of that one. So we can take photographs and stuff like that, but anyway, it's a long process and very exciting, I feel, to try and do this. So one of the ways you can make that experience more, obviously, is by doing these finishes, but also thinking of the in-universe way you present it. Maybe the packaging, the manuals that go with it, and all the ephemera and stuff, and the stand that it goes on, and all the functions that it has as well.
So much opportunity for graphical enjoyment.
The amazing thing with a prop, which we've found, and with our stuff, we always make a little stand for it, or we put things together, is that when you're designing the stand and you're designing the packaging, it's free reign on your creativity because that's not the prop. So you have to make a thing that's in universe, feels like it's part of the universe, but never actually existed. The cool thing about this, say the box here, that we designed it, and then Bethesda liked it so much they put it back into the game as a quest. So it became real. It actually went back full circle. And that is the coolest thing when you do something and then they say, we like that so much, we're going to put that back into the show.
All right, a smaller Pip-Boy and more functionality this time around?
Yes. So let me see what I've got here. I've got this one here. This is one of the first prototypes that we made. And here you're seeing it on the first prototype stand. We have to start considering the stand right at the beginning of the process, really, because it's part of how you display the product. And as a fan, you want to display it. So here you've got the first prototype. You'll notice some differences. There's a grill for the speaker.
Okay, yeah.
And you'll see that the buttons are orange because that was a sort of hangover. The factory thought they were doing something cool there. They put that in because they thought, well, that's what the game has. Let's put that on
right.
there.
Looks like
Sure.
the light over
We
there.
had to come back and say, guys, no.
actually-
In fact, once you start this stage, there might be hundreds of little things that you go back to the factory with and you start this conversation. Because we've already done the CAD and supplied it, but it's only the kind of outline CAD.
Right.
So,
They got the gestures mostly there,
They really
right?
did.
Yeah.
oh, it's,
And the shape of,
yeah,
that
but,
cowl
we,
around,
but we had supplied the CAD, so it's just that
Right.
a few extra things
There's
got added
another
in.
grill here for
Yeah.
another speaker.
those had to go.
Yeah.
Also, you notice that this part line isn't quite in the right place.
Right.
This thing coming along here.
Oh, yeah.
This part line has disappeared almost completely. We've put this back in actually because it's useful
Nice.
later.
Yeah.
You'll find out we're going to have a speaker grill there.
Right.
It's the factory not understanding what you're going for
and also trying to refine it a bit, and make it better. I mean, they're doing this job.
Understandable.
Also, for the mock-up, this had something that just fell off. We quickly got this from the market so that we could see from the open market, so we could just see if it fitted. But obviously, we're going to make a special one. We'll come to that in a minute. And then you've got the first iteration of the foam cough. So this is memory foam.
Memory foam, right? So it's not going to...
Which means it will conform to your arm.
Right.
But having said that, which will come out in a minute, it's parallel. So for arms of a man's arm, it can be quite
squeezing
tight,
back here.
and pinching. So we had to do
Adjust
that.
that.
Okay, so that's the first step that we get. So the stand. So the obvious thing when you're designing it is how do you make it work? First of all, it's going to have a display in it, and here you've just got a picture.
This is the one we've been looking at.
It's going to have some functionality here.
Yep.
Hey, we'd like this. Maybe, so when you start, you say to yourself, would this be a real radio or will it just be a knob that you turn?
Right.
Do these things actually do anything? Does this thing do anything? Can it do anything? How much
Does it need to?
How much budget? Yeah.
Right.
How much budget do we have? And what do you do with all these buttons? They're all at funny angles as well. Look at the angle of this one. Look at
No, it's not straight.
Is that?
And it's not curved.
It looks like when you accidentally twist it.
What is going on there? Also, the other thing which is slightly weird is there isn't really a face that you can put it down on that doesn't actually stress a button.
Oh, you're right. That button sits there. That button's.
You can just about do it like this.
On
the actual screen. And that's the one thing you don't want to wear.
No. Yeah. So there's the thing. And then also, what do you do with this? Well, very early on, we thought this looks like it would be very good to use for charging. Well, if that was the actual wire, we could use that. And then we can actually use it as a thing. So also, what that gives us first on, quite early on, is a place to hold the product. This was a very early prototype of the stand.
And then
put that
the plug
in there,
is free for
and the
charging.
plug is free. You have a nice.
You can make it integral.
Yes, high fives all around.
That's so exciting.
And then there it sits on a stand, looking really cool.
My iPhone doesn't work as well as that.
When you build a stand like this, what can we make it of? Well, we want to make the stand out of aluminium and make a nice solid or metal of some kind. So this is a 3D printed quick wrap.
Right.
And to do so, obviously these things, when you 3D print them, they've got, how would you mold this? You couldn't mold this all in one go.
You do it as an extrusion.
You could do,
profile.
and then
you're doing post-machining operations.
So there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. And also, if this is all aluminium, then this is heavy. So when you stand it up like this will fall down. So let's move on to the stand.
Yes. I love this progression. This is super awesome.
The stand iterates to this, in fact. So this
is that diecast?
It's a solid sheet of aluminium, machined and then bent.
Oh, nice. It's beautiful.
That
is just.
May I?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
And then laser etched.
Yeah, it's a beautiful blast finish. The finish you got in here is really...
there's multiple different grades of the sandblasting. You can have coarser or finer, whatever you want. So the
and then you're anodizing after the sandblast?
Well, actually, anodizing changed it quite a lot, and it's quite expensive. It's $1 or $2, I think. So it's matte UV coated.
Oh, neat. It feels like an anodized finish.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
It really is.
And also anodizing affects look at the even the data on the back. This is the regulatory stuff. It's just nicely put in.
Yeah.
So I always try and feel that. If you have to put lots of copy on something, then make it a big grey block. Make it something that's even design it so it's in a shape, so that when you actually look at it, your eye doesn't really see it all. It looks like extra information. It's quite nice.
More of the design world needs to think like this. I really appreciate that.
The other thing was, we thought of lots of things like putting weights in here and to weigh it down. Much simpler. Just cut some of it away. So now this is lighter. Of course. So now it stands up.
You've changed the balance.
So now it stands properly.
That's fantastic.
So you marry an injection molded part with that.
Yeah. And injection mold is 2 injection moldings because obviously you couldn't have this shut off inside here. Yeah. So you injection mold this way. And then this is screwed on the back with some really nicely, and then this one is screwed onto the stand.
Incredible.
So it's a lovely piece of engineering. And the great thing about it is we get to design it. because we can't design the look of
right,
that,
you
but we
can't
can
change
design
it,
the look of this.
Yeah.
And the other thing we want it to do is you're going to be having it on this the whole time, standing on your bedside table and at the desk, because the stand has to look sort of elegant and just part of the universe. So that's the stand.
Beauty.
Let's move on then. So we've seen the first one.
Yeah.
We now move on to the screen. So here we have...
Oh, this is a function prototype.
Yeah, this is just a quick one to show how the screen would look if we were to use the 380 by 420 LCD in monochrome.
This is part of your institutional knowledge of, like, as you are designing a piece, you are working on each aspect of it, and the graphics on the screen. I just love that you've got a custom-built part just to
hold it.
this.
Yeah, we take this to show Amazon and say, what do you think of this?
Oh, dude!
Green monochrome.
Yeah.
Oh, let's put it
Oh,
right
that
here.
sound is great.
So we're just powering up there. So this will run through a little sequence of things. In the show, they have about 40 or 50 or so screens that they show. And obviously, there were previous versions of Pip-Boys that people could buy that had internet connectivity and stuff, and they had all kinds of problems. I mean, Bluetooth is a nightmare to do. Unless you've got 100 people and 100 million to basically do a project, forget it.
Yeah.
So this one is a completely closed system, but what we're doing to make it realistic is we're using all the screens from the show that they use, and we're just doing it so that you can select which ones and look at those screens.
Oh, that's amazing. And production supplied you with all those graphics.
Yes, and the volume and the audio.
Yep.
So yes,
Phenomenal.
We love Kilter Films. They love us. It's cool.
It's a particular thing because, like, even when you have the agreement of the production company, sometimes getting those files is weirdly fraught.
So this now goes through a small selection of different screens.
Okay.
And this was to show. I mean, there's bright lights in here.
Yeah.
You can see this is actually quite a nice display. Do we like the look of it? We then 3D printed this just to give the guys who are looking at it. Some people got harder imagination, so you kind of just add a little bit there to sort of like. So let's move on then.
Okay.
So this is the first one that comes. We use this to show at the South by Southwest event.
Yep.
And this one we had implemented
USB-C.
the USB-C. So if we unplug it from there,
Yep.
and if you plug it into here,
Yep.
then this one should.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
I'm
pretty.
always fascinated by what type of plastic curve and housing you get to make an LCD look like a CRT.
Right. Well, let's put that there, and let's spin forward a tiny bit we'll spin forward in time.
Oh,
so
look at
these are
you
the
guys.
first. These are the first shots that have come out. We're in the process now. So about a quarter of a ton of tooling is required to make a small little plastic thing.
Yeah. No, this is
This
big giant hunks of metal. Yeah.
bashing together and closing with such precision that they don't leak water under pressure.
Is this some styrene?
This is PC, polycarbonate.
Okay.
It will be finally made in Tritan, which is a very nice glass-like plastic.
Amazing.
But Tritan is a thing they make what look like glass jugs out of and stuff, and it's
phenomenal.
It's very, very shiny.
scratch resistant.
And so this hasn't been polished yet. When it's say first shots, they'd polish it to a certain level.
Right,
Make
right.
sure it all fits exactly. The thing about tooling, which is another thing interesting, these great big metal tools, they're made by, first of all, they cut out the tool with the various machines and things like that, and then they use spark eroding. It's a high energy electronic needle that goes in and it erodes away the surface.
That's how all the fine details
Yes,
are.
and they do that. It's called spark erosion, and you can have different levels of it. So you can have coarse, medium, fine, depending on how long you want to do it for and what voltage you use. And it's under a bath of oil, high. Okay. Wow. When they get to that level, the spark eroded. So most of the finishes you see, which are kind of like slight rough surface on plastic, that's a spark eroded finish. But if you want a polish, somebody goes in by hand with grit, and they go smaller and smaller grit. So these are the tools are handmade. And almost of time-wise, maybe 50% or 60% of the time spent on the tool is by hand.
Just the polished part.
Yes.
Wow.
So actually, the tools are all very slightly different sizes, because if you think they're polishing microns off,
Right.
you think plastic injection molding tools will all be the same. But there's a phase which we go through called tool touch-up, where they put the things in and they don't fit exactly, so they touch the tool.
Oh my God.
And there's what they call metal off and metal on. You imagine making a tool, you polished it, it's all like beautiful, and then you say, could we have another thing there? Then if it's metal on, then they have to weld into the tool and then carve it
machine
away
around
again.
it, right.
If it's metal off, they just grind more away. But anyway, so this has been polished to a certain level, but not finished, and it's in polycarbonate. And this, they have all these what they call the sprues.
Yeah.
And basically in the injection molding tool, it comes together, and the hot plastic is like water, injects down these bits, and then it has various shapes to help the plastic expand in the correct way. Otherwise, you get weld lines. Obviously, when the plastic flows in here, it flows around here, and as it's a warm weld front, it comes together in the middle. And sometimes you see with plastic, especially the silver
get a
ones,
lenticular
you get a
artifact
line.
in there.
Yeah, that's the weld line that you get. So that's the first shot, and that's what the lens would be.
Okay.
It's quite a complex shape to design. It's not it's got curves in every direction. It's not.
And it also really matters how it affects the look of the graphics here.
Yeah.
So you experimenting with different curvatures to get one that feels right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got I want it to look like a CRT. So this is the one that goes in the show.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it. It's fine. It's got a metal front, so that's 3D printed in metal.
Okay.
So you can. This is the beginning of this is the
nice.
finishing. So this is what we're starting to experiment with the finishing. The first piece here on the front is all die cast.
Yep.
And then the back part, it would be too heavy. So this is all going to be ABS, which is rubber modified styrene. It's an engineering material, very high accuracy. So these turn, but they don't do anything.
They don't do that. Will the final product use a die-cast front plate?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to feel and look and
Cold
weather
and-
just beautifully.
It'll be-
It'll get nice and shiny on the high spots.
Well, the whole thing will be painted, but you'll be able to do stuff to it.
Incredible.
So one thing that I changed in this that would be quite nice to look at. First of all, the new catch you've got.
Yeah.
So you can see the new catch working there, and also you've got a
it
tapered
opens
foam.
way open.
You've got way. It's got opens flat, in fact. And you've got a tapered foam.
Oh, this
So,
is neat.
yes.
You're going to make is this tooling for this as well?
Yes. So there's two types of tooling for this. There's a plastic spring which goes behind. So this gives it strength and pushes it out.
Right.
Because we want to be able to remove it to change the battery at some point in the future or do something to it.
Yeah.
So this is put into a mold.
Right.
The foam, which is polyurethane, is squirted in. And then the fabric is put on and the mold's brought together and heated. And that's actually quite a long process.
So the fabric is bonded to the foam, bonded to this. That's three operations for the same set of materials.
And not only that, so let's see if I can pull this out. There you go. So there you can see
look at that. Yeah. So this is how it starts.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that is really cool. Oh, it's a nice foam.
Oh yeah.
It really is.
And this doesn't separate.
No, and no latex involved. It's just a polyurethane foam. Okay.
So you don't have to deal with latex allergies.
No. So here you go. That's in order that we'll have a situation where we can remove this if we need to get to it, if anyone needs to get inside it.
Just a lot of people have asked. I mean, if you keep something for long enough and it's got a battery in it, how will I? They're already thinking ahead on that.
That's really good.
This one shows also one of the issues that it has a wire that has to go from the side where you've got the plug to the side where you've got all the electronics. So we want to get around that.
A little bit of PCB strip or
You
something
could have a PCB, which is a flexi. You could have a flexi.
Yeah.
That's quite expensive. You could, and we have, and I'll show you, route the wire through the hinge. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So so that's the next stage that we get to. You can see that the grills have gone.
Yep.
So shall we move on to?
Let's see where you guys are.
Where this is all going.
Yes. The culmination. No, this is not the finished.
No.
Not a final.
This is not a final one, but this
First
is.
of all, graphically, this is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the color choice, the font choice, the limited number of colors. It is really beautiful.
The thing with this is the Fallout universe is so well scripted, so well drawn out. So you can see from the show, if you watch the show, it's in a way it's so rich. There's so much there that you can draw on. For one of our previous products, we made a Boston Bugle newspaper and we wrapped all the stuff up in newspaper. And it was so cool because there's so much lore and so many stories. So when you come to design this, and before I was an engineer, I was a designer for 20 years. So I love doing the illustrations and doing the design. It's the best bit of my job. I think when I was a kid, I wanted to be a graphic illustrator, and this is it. But you're translating an era which is really quite simple because there were simple colors, slightly offset colors.
The slightly offset is so chef's kiss perfect because it's dimensional, but it also feels like a little bit like the 50s. Like, we just didn't line up our menu logo.
That's the thing.
I love that feedback loop. That the franchise itself can accommodate that type of expansion
because
and improvisation.
Yes. So there we go. And then if we open this, you can start to. Yeah. So
this will be paper pulp like a coffee carrier, but in black.
Yeah.
Copy that.
This is the latest iteration of the product, okay? And the latest iteration of the stand.
Take that from me.
So I think it's getting there. There might be some more blue that we could add to it, if you think about it.
Yep.
I mean, it could do with some of this blue on it, but really it's getting close.
And how close to manufacturing, when you ship this at the end of the year, can you be making changes to shapes, colors,
to the
and
finishing?
processes?
Probably within over the next few months we'll be doing that, because when we get the first shots, we'll start to refine it and say, could we have slightly more sheen on it, or can we maybe we can have the blue. So you'll see that this is identical here.
Yep.
The only differences there are, and we've always done this with our products. We've told when fans say, "Is it identical?" We go, "Well, yeah and no." There's one big difference that you'll notice at the front. Yes.
This line
Well, that line is fine, but it's this.
Oh yeah, adding that.
The line is in the right place, and the reason is that it couldn't be manufactured how we wanted it to be manufactured.
Gotcha. I see. You needed to finish it on the top.
So there's a thing there, but
all right.
There are some slight things that will change as we go along.
Right.
So this one is also a notch up from the previous one. We don't need to plug it in. We can just turn it on.
Oh, nice.
So now the battery and everything.
Oh, the green.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, more than the green. Check this out. This glows the color of the battery level charge. So if it's now,
that sounds great.
So the needle doesn't move.
Yeah.
The needle does move. It doesn't move in time with the charge, but. So if you move the thing, the needle will move, which is quite nice.
Oh, very cool.
Because it's just on a little weight.
Yeah.
But this will glow green when it's up to 75% charge, then amber, and then red.
Good. I'm glad there were 3 colors.
Yes. And then when you're charging, it will flash, and then so that'll be cool. And these are the different screens that you can access.
Yeah.
There'll be one. There'll be probably up to 10 or maybe more for each one of these columns, depending on...
And you're just cycling through animations that you have stored on.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no connecting to the outside world.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no worry about that.
Yeah.
It's also going to have a clock. So you can put it on your nightstand, on your stand. So we can put it here. And
it functions. It actually operates.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what's happening.
And it has an alarm too. There's an alarm.
I mean,
it'll have an alarm you can set, and when the alarm rings, it'll be the bombs dropping.
That's what I
want. So and also, so you'll be able to adjust the brightness. So if you want it on your bedside at night, you can adjust it right down. Also, when you plug it in. You can have it on a demonstration mode, so it can be in your display cabinet running 24/7.
A track mode.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Just a sort of like 30 different, 15 different animations.
You've thought through every aspect of owning this, from using it to... this is great.
So this will also have a radio.
Excellent.
So if we go to radio, we don't have a radio in this one yet.
Copy.
But so when you turn it down, it will seek one way, and when you turn up, it'll seek the other way.
Oh, nice.
And then when you press it, you will play one of 7 different audio clips that are on the show from the radio in the show, that are from the Wasteland, from KPSS.
Yeah.
You got more functionality than you could ever get in the 76 version. In a smaller form factor.
In a much smaller form factor.
I love the smaller
for
form
a great
factor.
price.
The moment I saw the smaller form factor, I was like, okay, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to be able to wear this so when you press the clock to turn on, you could be wearing it like a watch. It'll last for 15 seconds and then it will go off, and that will last all day. So you could wear it like a watch.
So my question is, they've awarded the 2nd season.
Yeah.
Do you think that the prop department's going to be using some of your pieces for
I
background?
Really hope so.
That's the dream.
This was in the
virtuous cycle.
In the series.
This was in the series.
Yeah, it was hanging up
So in the second episode, they zoom in and it's like full screen for about 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, a lot of what I would say is quite a lot of time in it.
You were yelling the whole time.
Yeah.
From what we heard about the production, the love they have for the community and the outreach they've done to get costumes and parts to help legitimize that for the fans it makes them.
But I mean, the way they've realized the world, it's half. To be fair, it's almost like the two halves are as important as each other, but it's half the battle only. The other half is the story, the characters, how they come out. Because you really, by the end, you care for the characters. And without getting too dewy-eyed about it, the anti-hero becomes, there's a lot of pathos for him, and he becomes something you really feel for towards the end. And that is a brilliant journey. And actually, the way the characters interact, every character you meet, even if they're only on the screen for a few minutes, you begin to feel their sort of journey and their pain. It's so cleverly done. And that's why it's been successful. I mean, it's part of that. And also the world building is incredible.
Well, your world building is equally incredible. This is just a lovely journey through not just the piece itself, but the enthusiasm that you are both realizing and channeling through it is really delightful.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for asking us to show it to you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Getting to see this up close with that, absolutely thrilling.
Chris, Jeremy, thank you so much. Good luck getting this the last couple months to production, and we can't wait to see the finished one.
Yeah, you'll be seeing it soon.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have. I'm gonna do my own weathering pass on it.
Right.
I'd be very sad if you didn't.
Yeah. Okie dokie.